The Sesh Podcast, episode 231, take 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sesh Podcast. I'm your host, Kendall.
And I'm Janelle, and we're joined by Karelly and Sydney as always.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
We're starting this one off with a moment of zen and also some ASMR. And so if you hate ASMR, sorry about that. I need to know what Janelle thinks of this sound. Or even like, there we go.
I like that. That's very good. That feels like
Good, right?
nails on your back,
Oh, yeah.
like soft scratches.
Isn't that what ASMR actually is? Do you know what that stands for?
Audio, something.
Like autonomous meridian trigger response? No, that doesn't sound right. Trigger sounds wrong.
Autonomous sensory meridian response.
And it's like a little shiver feeling up your back, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very relaxing. I used to get it from like certain substitute teachers.
Oh,
I'd always like when they came, I was like, oh, your voice is so calming.
that was good.
Relax.
Is that a food to eat?
No, it's not food. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I thought you put one in your mouth.
They're actually these like magnetic little fidget balls, beads. You want to check them out? They're kind of like magic beans.
Mm-hmm.
They are a choking hazard and
Flick the magic
dangerous
bean.
if inhaled because it could pinch your organs. So be careful. Don't eat them.
And a fire hazard.
We were just, looking at all the ways they're problematic.
Internal injury
Don't have
hazard.
if you have children around. These need to live here in this building
or
on a high
pets.
shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
be
pets
careful
too.
with Pets.
Well,
What is? Yeah, I guess some dogs would eat magnets.
I'm sorry, Janelle.
Just kidding.
Oh, God. Sorry. I didn't even realize that either.
I'm kidding. It's fine. You guys
Well,
can
yeah.
make jokes from me.
We've been
I'm bad.
sitting here having trouble figuring out how to start the show because it just feels so weird. But we are very, very happy, very, very happy to have you back. Welcome back
I'm
to the
happy
show,
to be here.
Janelle.
I missed all of you guys very much. Yeah, so I feel like most of you probably know this, but I was gone the last 2 episodes. I lost Charlie very unexpectedly 2 weeks ago from today. And it was the most painful thing I've ever experienced. And it was very unexpected and quick. And I knew that you guys, a lot of you knew him or loved him, but I didn't expect the overwhelming amount of people to respond and care in such a way that you guys did. So I just want to start by saying thank you to everyone, and we'll talk more about this later. I wanted to talk about it and explain what happened, just because I know he was part of the show, and
Huge part of the show.
he was obviously my soulmate in a way. So
For sure.
I felt it would be a disservice to him if I just kind of was yeah, he passed away, it's sad, anyways, moving on. So I do want to talk about it, but I want to do it towards the end of the episode just because, well, for a few reasons. One, I know that a lot of people would be triggered by it or just don't want to hear it, and that's totally fine. I respect that. I, to be honest, see where you're coming from, and I don't know if I would want to necessarily hear all the details. It's nothing really graphic. He wasn't hit by a car or anything like that. But yeah. So I just felt like it'd be better to put it towards the end, and that way, I'm pretty sure I would have a hard time talking about it and then switching gears into another topic. And I didn't want this whole episode to be about that. So, anyways, I just wanted to get that out of the way. He is in doggy heaven, but I will talk more about that later. But there's still, another topic that we want to talk about, and I do feel more stable than I did 2 weeks, so I really appreciate you guys giving me that time, because I wanted to come back last week, and then I just, was having a harder time than I expected with it, so I just needed another week.
It's been extremely difficult.
Yeah, it has. It sucked. And I'm sorry, like, I'm starting off this note on a sad note, but I think you guys will all understand. And
I think most people out there understand.
But, yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of wonderful things that I want to touch on. And so we'll save that towards the end if for those of you who are interested in it or want to hear more. And I just think that grief in general is a topic that it needs to be talked about more because every person in one way or another has experienced it, whether it's through an animal or a person or grieving over a job or a friendship or whatever it is. So yeah, I think it's something that hopefully someone, can relate to in one way or another.
I think it will be that for a lot of people.
Yeah. But I am okay. Like, I appreciate you guys, thinking of me, and I'll touch more on it. But I do like these fucking beads already.
Good. I'm glad you like them.
Because
you hang on to them, girl.
Where did you get these online? Somewhere?
Some random store up in the mountains.
Oh, well, they're great. Vail.
Yeah.
I thought you were eating them though.
I know. Well, you can. I don't know if you can hear that, right, Karelly? Coming through when she was holding it down, because I'm curious, because I actually bought them to be like a stress relieving thing for during recordings, because I just always, and I'm sure you guys notice, I'm always like touching my hair, touching something, like playing with my straw. It drives Janelle crazy. I play with the straw. Well, today I don't have like a dinky straw because I couldn't find a real one today, but I always been playing with the straw in these cups and like cleaning my lipstick off of them, and like I have to touch something.
No, I'm like that. I'm the biggest fidgeter. I'm always like, there's always something in my lap that I'm fucking with on set.
I used to love having a coloring book, but people didn't like that. They're mad at me for it.
God forbid.
Said I wasn't focused enough.
God forbid a girl has an artistic interest.
Yes. Actually, I'm terrible at art, but
same. I can't fucking do it.
I do think it's funny, or fun to use like markers. And
do you ever watch coloring? Like, there's certain accounts on TikTok that just do like coloring books, but they're super good at it.
No, I have not seen
with these like beautiful markers that just are so juicy. It's very satisfying.
Oh, they're called something. I heard someone talking about those markers on Caleb Hammer. She was like trying to tell him, are they like they've got something in them, like I want to say iron, or
is it alcohol ink?
Alcohol. Yeah, iron. That makes sense. I felt like they had something special in them. They're
really?
Like, these special markers are kind of expensive.
The hoo ones?
I don't know, but I think it's a TikTok trend. She was saying it's like a special type of marker.
It looks like
paint, almost.
Liquid. Yeah, it does.
Oh, it's cool. I need to check that out.
Anyways, yeah, I watch people color things.
Alcohol markers, that's what they are. Oh, they're not that expensive.
They're really not that expensive.
Yeah, those are.
There's another brand, I can't remember the name of them, that are really expensive, like $10 a marker.
Damn, that's crazy. But I guess if you're like the real deal artist,
if you're an
artist,
worth
it. Yeah, not really for like hobbyists. If you don't want to drop a lot of coin. Oh, I keep dropping these now. They're okay. Now I need to pick them up.
They're all over the place. You guys should see the difference in Kendall's side of the booth versus my side of the booth.
No, but like for real, we have to be so careful these because dogs can get them and they're dangerous.
Okay, well, we don't want that.
Yeah, so let's just put them away. They're stressing me out. They need to go.
They were supposed to help with the stress, and now they're just making you more stressed.
You know what accounts though I like? I wonder if you've seen these. Color mixing accounts.
Yes. Oh my God.
Paint
one of my
mixing
favorites.
on Instagram.
Love.
On the reels. That's the only thing I use reels for.
Wait, have you seen the ones where they like mix them and then they have like a sample card of a color and then they mix it to that?
No. Oh my God, yes, I've seen those too. Those are really satisfying.
How the fuck do people do that?
Dude, that's
what I want to know.
Crazy.
Where they like have a card drawn for them and they have to try and figure out how to do it.
They'll have just like a little canvas and then they'll just paint it to fit in with the rest of the scape. That makes sense.
That's not the one I'm watching.
To like find a missing, like almost a puzzle piece type vibe.
They just like paint the little square. It doesn't look like a painting.
Oh, yeah.
Are we talking about something different?
No, I think it's roughly the same. Yeah, I don't know. People on TikTok are so good at like, people on TikTok. They just happen to be on TikTok. But yeah, there's like ones where you have like a little sample, like at the paint store, there's like little pieces of paper.
Yeah.
So they'll take a color, a piece of paper like that, and then they have a bunch of paints around it and they start mixing it together over and over again until
they get it
right. When they paint it on the sheet, that first one, it's so entertaining to watch.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. And they just had to keep working at it until that's impressive.
Yes, I have seen
this.
I
don't know why they're not showing the process
I've not
of it.
Seen that.
But basically, they're like mixing all these colors until they find the exact match of the paint.
I wonder
And
if you've seen the ones that I'm obsessed with, because I will seriously spend so much time on this Instagram account.
yeah, like look at this one, Kendall. They're gonna do the same as the Trader Joe's green, I think. Color theory
just
just
keep
blows
adding,
my mind.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again until they get it perfectly. And it's so satisfying to watch.
I like that.
That is so cool.
Over and over and over and over. And
Oh,
then
imagine having an eye like that. I feel like Karelly could do that.
Yeah, you
no
could.
way. I'm not that good at
No,
color
if you
theory.
if you like practiced at it though, you could get it.
I'm
like
sure,
it's comes natural to you to some degree, I feel.
I like how he's like,
Oh, that's so
Oh my
beautiful.
God, he lit. Wow, he's not good enough for him though.
Okay, so the one I was
Gonna
talking
get it
about.
even closer.
wow.
Hold on.
yeah, look.
That's so cool.
So there's boom. It's the exact color. How the fuck?
That's crazy.
Can I put one in to show you guys what I'm into and see if any of you have seen
Yeah.
it?
Wait, can you click on mine real quick?
Oh,
so they have a
shit.
lemon in the background, and then they're gonna paint the rest of the lemon.
Oh, what the fuck?
Look at this.
Oh hell no. They're gonna
oh, I guess.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
What red?
Oh, they're making white.
yeah, they're making the,
Oh,
the
that is
color
They're
of the
making
apple.
white out of red?
Yeah, my brain does not
They're
work.
making the
Whoa.
shadow of it.
Oh, shit.
He's like putting it into a painting of a lime.
Wow.
So that's a painting of a lime, not an actual
that's
lime?
an
that's an
actual
actual
lime.
lime in the background.
But
Oh,
then
okay.
like the half of it on the right is the
That's
painting.
even crazier then.
Wait, and then he's gonna pull it back. It's crazy. I love these videos. These are some of my favorites.
I could never fucking do this, dude.
No.
Ever.
Ever.
I can barely draw a star still.
Same.
I have to do the kind like
look at this.
what? How do you get it glossy like that? It
'Cause
looks
he
so
painted
juicy.
white highlights.
Oh my lord.
Unreal.
Shit blows
Unreal.
my mind.
People have real talent. Mine is the least impressive, but I want to see if this satisfies you. Yeah, it's not really impressive at all. It's just someone mixing paint.
I also love the ones where they're scooping candies and rating them.
Oh, I like that one too.
What's that?
They like scoop. They're like at a candy shop and they just take like the scooper and then like
See,
rate how good it sounds.
How good it
Oh,
scoops.
how it sounds?
Yeah, and like the scoopability.
See, but that would make me crave candy. Candy's like my biggest weakness in life. I fucking love candy.
What's your
Oh.
favorite candy?
Oh, over the weekend, I don't know if these are my favorites, but I had lemon heads, and those are in my top 3 for
Mm.
sure.
Fire.
I like lemon heads, and I love hot tamales. They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
my real love. And then peppermint patties or like junior mints
Fire.
interchangeably.
Oh,
those
Junior
are my
Mints
top 3.
So fucking good.
I love lemon heads. When I had strep throat, that's all I ate for like a week.
Oh, I remember you telling me that.
The
Yeah.
nurse's station at my elementary school would give us lemon heads if we had a sore throat.
Yeah, same.
So
That's,
then I was like, I got a sore throat. And then
Okay.
I'd go and get a lemon head.
Am I living deja vu, or have we had this whole conversation
probably have.
about lemon heads?
We
And I've
probably
heard
have.
all these
Probably
stories
have.
from you guys.
We probably have.
Well, that's actually so funny. I gotta try that for. I would have, if I knew that was a sore throat thing as a kid,
Right?
I would have lived on the lemon heads.
Right?
This weekend I went to like a little fair thing and they had the freeze dried candy set up
Oh,
and it was
fuck.
freeze dried lemon heads.
Oh.
They were so good. I'm
Ooh.
excited to go home and have one.
I
I
love
like-
freeze dried candy.
I do
I don't
too.
think I've had that, but I like hot tamales.
Have you
I like
had?
hot
Oh, you do like hot tamales too,
Yeah,
huh?
because it's kind of like hot. They're like spicy and they're kind of burning, but then like you almost can't stop eating them.
Yes,
Is
I
that-
kind of love that feeling because the burn almost gets worse if you stop. So if
Yes.
you keep going,
Yeah.
It's like flaming hot Cheetos.
Have you guys ever
Yes.
had hot and bothered or hot and bothered?
Hot and bothered.
good and gather or whatever.
Good
it's
and
called?
plenty.
Good and plenty.
Disgusting.
Ew.
I don't
Like
even-
Karelly, you don't like those, do you?
No. I was asking if anybody's like actually had like eaten them.
Yeah,
Oh, I've eaten
my
them. They're
stepmom eats
horrible.
them because she's nasty.
What?
Oh,
Roberta?
Roberta loves licorice.
Wait, what is it?
It's a
like-
licorice
it's
candy.
licorice.
It's
But like
just-
black licorice?
I don't know.
I think it's black licorice.
I
and it
like
has,
regular licorice, but
coating.
not.
Ugh, nasty.
You don't like red vines?
Fuck no, I hate
No,
red
Josh
vines,
loves red
Twizzlers,
vines.
anything like
Oh,
that.
I love
Sticky
Twizzlers.
fingers,
That too.
It
disgusting.
reminds me of my grandma. Like, just she always had red vines.
Have you had freeze dried candy? Did you just say you've never had that?
No, I don't
Oh
even have.
my
my
God.
Freeze-dried Skittles are like unbelievable.
Wait, where do you
Yes.
get this?
Well, you can get them on, like, I think Etsy has them. TikTok Shop certainly does.
You can even get them at like Target now.
Yeah, Target's got them.
Everyone's
got 'em.
Well, their
Gas
brand
station
is kind of
has them too.
shitty.
Yeah.
But I went to like a little fair and they said they said they're at the Colorado Mills Mall a lot. So maybe they can.
They're at farmers
But they
markets.
had freeze dried ice cream sandwiches.
Oh
What? God,
I've had
he had an
those.
ice cream sandwich kind of cut up and just freeze dried it.
Yum.
Holly lost her shit.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine what that tastes
Oh,
like.
See, this
so
is
good.
and the problem is they're so easy to eat because they're just so crunchy and airy that
Yeah.
I would eat the whole bag.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you don't realize how many you're eating.
Oh my God. I had freeze-dried Charleston chews. Charleston chews are one of my favorite candies.
I do love those.
So good.
Oh, I bet those are bomb.
So good. I got them at a little like candy shop in Estes Park.
I can go to Fuzzy Wigs.
The Mountain Towns has. Oh yeah, I do love Fuzzy Wigs. I like Rocket Fizz even better. You've got to try them. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Well, Karelly brought us all freeze-dried Skittles a few years ago. I feel like you had those. They're like going around the office.
Okay, well,
They were sour Skittles.
I probably
right.
Yeah.
Maybe I have had
There was
them.
some, I don't know, whatever it was.
Damn,
Not enough to
that's
remember. I need to like do it again.
That's a very vague memory I have.
Okay, wait. I just want you guys to play my little video and then we'll move on to our topic. Have you guys seen this account on Instagram? Because I really think this could be a fave of yours.
Okay, I'm always down.
Oh
And
my
it's-
god!
again,
yes.
there's no talent.
Yes.
This is
No,
one of mine.
This
So
is
good.
amazing. The gold, I love the metallic ones
So
mixing with the
good.
colors. I'm always so surprised by what they're going to be.
There's one on TikTok that does they mix clay colors and they'll have you guess what the
Yep.
end result is.
I like that account too, but this one's
I-
slightly
this is
better
one of my
to me.
favorites.
Wait, so it's
Like-
different colors because they're using different amounts.
Yeah,
right,
so
okay.
it says on the side like 37.
Oh.
They're doing a 50-50 right now, then a 30-70.
That's wild.
I love watching these colors or these videos. Yeah, I love
Blue Bayou.
They all end up sort of jewel tones when they use like a gold or a silver.
Mm-hmm.
I love that bottom one. I feel like it took me longer than I'd like to admit, but I feel like in the past couple of years, I have truly realized that I am going to get out of my mental health what I put into it. And if I don't put in the work and I don't put in the time, my mental health is going to struggle. I have to make it priority. I have to stay consistent with it. And one of the things that I know always helps me, and I will admit, I haven't always been great about sticking with meditation, but every time I do and I get in a pattern, I notice the difference. And my personal favorite meditation app is Headspace. It is fantastic, let me tell you. And it's not just me. This app has helped over 100 million people with mental health and being guided with meditations, mindfulness practices, breathing, calming exercises, and so much more. And that's another thing I have realized makes a huge difference for me personally, breathing exercises and just setting aside a couple of times a day. My goal is just 3 times a day for like a very short breathing exercise. Makes a huge difference. Headspace combines scientifically proven benefits of meditation and mindfulness with modern practices, and you learn from experienced meditation teachers. The app has customized, personalized approaches to help you navigate through all of life's moments, big and small. And if you're a total newbie or have been meditating for years, there's always content for what you're going through. And I also am a big fan of soundscapes for my relaxation time. They have excellent ones, and I have tried actually a lot of soundscapes apps and also just like looking up YouTube videos and stuff. And I gotta say, Headspace really takes it up a level. So feel good and mean it when you say it. For a limited time, get Headspace free for 60 days. Go to headspace.com/thesesh. That's HEADSPACE.com/thesesh to unlock all of Headspace free for 60 days. That's a great deal, you guys. Headspace.com/thesesh. All right, guys, getting into our topic of the day. Janelle and I were on the phone last week and she told me, hey, this new documentary came out called Call Her Alex. And it's on Alex Cooper, who is the Call Her Daddy host. We just talked about her when we talked about Catherine doing, which is popping off. That's the #1 episode on her YouTube channel. But Janelle did explain that she hasn't been on YouTube that long. So, but still, 10 million. 10 million views on Catherine's.
I thought you were going to say it was Catherine's book was the best-selling book.
Her episode did very good on Call Her Daddy. That was a big interview for her to land. But Janelle told me about this new documentary that she has called Call Her Alex on Hulu. And she was like, you should watch it. It was very inspiring. I think you'll really enjoy it. And I don't really know that much about Alex Cooper. To be honest, I think I've only seen, weirdly enough, I think the only episode I fully watched was when the dude from like Cole Sprouse, is it Cole Sprouse that went on? Was that who went on her show?
Probably.
From A Sweet Life of Zach and Cody?
I remember that.
Yeah, one of them was on her show.
That's the one.
I don't know why.
I
just wanted to watch it. There was a lot of like people were mad at him for something,
Yeah,
and I was
I think
kind
I
of
saw
curious
that.
why.
I remember that actually.
And then I think the other episode I've seen was Catherine's, and I've seen like a little Ellen Pompeo was on there. I want to say there was more, but
She does have a lot of guests. I have no idea who the fuck they are.
No,
I
there's
will
so
say that.
many good ones.
But yeah,
There's
there's
like
yeah.
she's
Yeah.
got
Gwyneth
big names on there.
Paltrow went on there.
Miley
Crazy.
Cyrus.
Miley
Chelsea
Cyrus.
Handler's been on there a couple times. Fucking funny ass bitch.
Oh, I know.
Chelsea Handler's a
Sierra-
funny fucking bitch.
I just
Sierra was
finished her
just on
book.
there, and I got confused because it said, what was her title? Don't let him waste your time. Does that mean, is she done with football boy that
No.
fucking sucked here in Colorado?
Ugh. Which,
Who?
by the way, he's on the Giants now. Fucking karma for me because I talked
Oh.
so much shit.
Oh my god!
All I did was talk shit about
Sierras?
Choke Wilson
Yes,
for
you did.
the whole year.
Choke Wilson.
And now he's
I forgot
playing
we
for
called
my
him that.
fucking team. It's embarrassing.
Oh
I'm pissed.
no! I did not hear the news.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if Sierra said bye.
No, I think-
maybe it's about an ex or something. But anyway,
Kamala Harris was on there.
yeah. So I didn't see that Kamala episode actually. Post Malone,
Simone Biles.
Trisha Paytas. Oh, Kardashian. 3.5 million. Oh, that was a big one for her.
It was actually a great interview, I thought.
Was it?
Or
Oh.
Chloe. Chloe was on it.
What did you like about it?
Chloe, I think, is an interesting person to listen to when it comes to interviews. She seems very for a Kardashian, she seems pretty down to earth, I guess. I don't know.
Like out of the Kardashians.
I don't know,
Yeah,
she seems
I see
very,
what you mean by that.
introspective and
She's deeper than all
yeah,
of them for
very-
sure.
yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
I saw that. I thought it was pretty good
Yeah.
as well.
I like the Ellen Pompeo one.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I saw some clips from.
So Alex Coop-a-doop. Father, daddy.
So you're like a pretty big, like how often do you listen to her episodes?
It depends on the guest because you know me, I don't like a lot of people.
I was going to say, like, do you know anyone that comes on the show?
And that's valid. That's why not a lot. But I have over the years listened to quite a few episodes. I started listening to her after her and Sophia broke up. So I'm not I understand the lore because I have educated myself since on the breakup. But I was not an OG call her daddy fan. I some people are. But overall,
Do you consider yourself like part of the daddy gang?
yeah, I have Unwell merch. I was extremely close to going to her live show here in Denver.
I'm surprised you didn't go. I was wondering
I can't
last
remember
night.
why I didn't go. There was some reason, but yeah, I do like her a lot, and I like her podcast. But I also just think she's a fucking bad businesswoman.
Mhm.
Not bad, isn't badass. Sorry, that sounded stupid.
She's a
bad
fucking
businesswoman.
Bad businesswoman.
She's a badass
Yeah.
bitch, workhorse, pioneer. And I know that a lot of people have different opinions on her, and that's fine.
Well,
You
she's
don't
like
have
one of
to
the
like
most
her.
famous people in the world, so that just comes with that territory, right? Like half
She
the world has to
is
hate you. if you're
Arguably the
a certain
most,
size.
I would say, the biggest female podcaster in the world
She's the most listened to
by
Yeah.
females. Yeah.
by females. Yeah.
And she is a lot of times thought of as the next
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, or the next.
Interesting.
She's coming for a Joe Rogan spot, which is interesting because it's people will ask her that, and she's like, I still don't know why I'm being compared to men. I'm Alex Cooper. Just let me be
and
Alex
their
Cooper.
shows are very different.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, she's
So,
totally gonna take that demographic.
yeah, right.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked learning about her. I agree with you on all those things. I feel like I need to watch more of her, and I was so curious about some of the stuff they were talking about, how raunchy it was, and the sex jokes, and the Glock
9000.
Glock 9000. I had to look that up.
9,000.
I was confused on that. She still does episodes alone, right?
She does solo episodes.
She just brought it back actually yesterday, her first Sunday session.
Yeah, she does Sunday. She'll do Sunday solos where they're little mini episodes.
I opened
but
one with Sydney earlier.
she also still does some solos here and there. But
I need to check those out because I want to get to know her more. I just said, listen to her talking to people.
Yeah.
How much can you learn about someone?
sure, right, yeah, a lot of her stuff is just interviews. People say she's a horrible interviewer. I don't see that. I don't know. Whatever. I mean,
People are always harsh at
Yeah,
the ones
and that's
on
fine.
the top.
But yeah, so she came out with a documentary, 2 parts, and whether or not you listened or are familiar with her show, I think you would enjoy listening to it because she just has a very interesting story, and I think it's just very empowering as a young female to be as successful as she is. I mean, not only does she have one of the biggest shows in the entire world, but now she has a whole Unwell network
Yeah.
that has other shows that she has signed to it. She has her own hydration drink brand that is
Oh, right.
sponsored by the Women's Professional Soccer League.
Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good.
What is it?
Yeah,
Hydration.
Unwell hydration.
Okay, so it's
It's
like
like
a Gatorade.
Yeah,
kind of.
Sort of like Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, and her whole thing again was
more watery.
why are they all Prime Gatorade? It's all very masculine
Mhm.
advertising, and she's like, where's the ones for the bitches? But yeah, she's gone on tour. She has her own Sirius XM
Station.
music station where
Oh,
she
wow.
curates all these throwback. Like she's like, you'll have anything from like Hannah Montana one day to like Hillary Duff the next to like this, that.
A little bit of Nelly in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
It's because she's signed with Sirius XM.
Yeah, she's signed with Sirius. Which at first she was at Barstool Sports, then she was with Spotify, and now she's with Sirius. But yeah, so it was just kind of documenting her upbringing and how she, got to where she is now. A lot of behind the scenes of her tour that she did.
That was really, really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed seeing a little bit more of the behind the scenes of a tour.
How much work goes into it. I mean, and she's putting on, like, it's not like she's just going on there and doing a live podcast. It's like a full-on, like, performance.
Oh, it's just, yes.
Singing, dancing.
The way she was talking about it's different than just doing a podcast because you have to talk with your body and, like, be animated and, like, kind of, like, it's like an improv act, like a stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And she's so hands-on in her project, it seems.
Yeah, and hands-on and involved in every
every
single thing
facet
that she does.
I really like just her personality. I like listening to her talk. She seems just really cool and down to earth. And of course,
you never know.
Yeah. Of course, sometimes I do get skeptical with documentaries like that because it's like you think they can be trying to make you look a certain way, especially when it's produced by yourself. But like, I don't know, she came across as very real to me, and it just like was very raw shot. I liked it, and it was the tour thing was so interesting.
Yeah,
the pressures of it all.
Imagine going in front of hundreds of people.
Oh my God, when she was in the back, like sitting in front of, she had like this giant bouquet of flowers. She was just like breathing. I was like, fuck that. I would never. Like, I could not imagine
all by
going
yourself.
Like, oh my God, no. Like, I don't even do live shows or tours. I would like to one day. I don't know. But it scares the shit out of me. I don't like public speaking. I just get so nervous. It's like very different with just cameras versus like talking to people.
For sure.
So that's why I've like never really agreed to tour and the whole idea. Because we did like that one live show in Texas years ago. And
in front of like 50 people.
I struggled. I feel like
you
it was
did fine.
I know, but I was very like the anxiety the whole week leading up to it, and like during it, even like it took me a while to like chill out after.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a certain type of person can do it, especially the way that Alex was doing it. This show is like unreal.
Yeah, it
didn't look like a podcast tour at all. It's like a concert. Okay, so since I haven't seen a lot of her older, more raunchier episodes, that's kind of like how she got her start.
Yeah,
so you kind of want to explain that.
So basically, she was fresh out of college. And she had a roommate named Sophia, and she went to school for like film and media or something like that. Graduated from Boston University, and growing up, she'd made like home videos. Like she's always been super into this production, which reminded me of you a lot. Of like she was in her basement filming home videos.
She was really good at it. I was making some jank shit.
Yeah, she was like, and she was severely bullied, she kind of alluded to, when she was a kid. And so she'd come home and would like make these fun home videos with her friends and felt like she could really be herself there. And
that's so spot on to how it was for me.
I think that's a lot of people, right? Of like, oh, I can actually be myself, and this is a creative outlet for me. And to feel like, you're really in control and at home.
And her dad, too, was a producer for the Philadelphia Flyers. So she
that was cool.
She knew like the background ends of stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually a job I was interested when I was a teenager. I thought about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like always thought I saw some movie on it. I don't know. It's like a comedy movie where have you seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he has to like bring the baby to the switcher room.
Oh,
it's with Josh Duhamel.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
They like acquire the baby.
And Katherine Heigl.
They end up with this baby.
Yeah, they're friends.
Unfortunately,
what is
Rome?
his last name?
Josh
Duhamel.
No,
Duhamel. You've never heard of Josh Duhamel? Wow. Oh my gosh, he is so hot. Bring him up. I want
Life
to know
as
the
we
rating.
know it.
I need a ranking from Janelle. He is one of the hottest.
Oh my God,
never heard of this bitch.
No, he
Josh
is actually.
Duhamel. Oh my
I did not know
God,
who this
look
was.
At him.
Oh, he's
Wait, is this McSteamy?
He is yummy.
This is not McSteamy.
No, he looks a lot like McSteamy though.
Oh my God, in that movie too, he was very attractive.
Yes, like maybe like specifically from that movie.
Yeah, he's pretty hot.
But yeah, he works in the switcher room. Who?
Frank Diaz.
Oh, Janelle has a crush on Frank Diaz.
Which
Look
is a
him up,
crazy
guys.
thing to say.
Frank Diaz in Colorado. Type it in your Google and let her know what you think of that.
No.
You said it.
I was mistaken. Never mind.
She got him confused with another local attorney.
This is so stupid. Whatever.
Backus and Shanker and Levine.
Jesus. Okay. What was the point? Oh, you wanted to
Anderson, Hemmett, and Levine.
producer for
something for the
for
Philadelphia
just
Flyers?
for any type of switcher job.
Oh, okay.
Like doing cameras for a live being the one to call the shots.
Yeah,
because I saw that movie in high school.
It looks so it's hard.
Or maybe it was when I was in college. I don't know. I don't even whenever that came out. There was some point in my life where I was like, that'd be fucking awesome.
2010.
Oh yeah,
that movie came out.
Right as I was graduating high school. So I remember like thinking about it. But I decided on teacher. Anyway.
So and look at you now.
Yeah,
you're back.
I call it's like I want your guys' job, the producer job. I think it's fun to do have the vision for it. But I loved doing all the cameras and stuff when I was a kid, like making the magic movies. You did those with me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I did them with everyone. Anyone I could get my hands on and cast
every time we were together,
shows.
we were making fucking movies.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun.
It was
I loved it.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, one of my best works was we made a music video to I'm on a Boat, and we used it was when Apple came out with the
filters.
No, yeah, like the filters on the photo booth.
Right.
So we would record. We'd set up backgrounds in it and record with it somehow, or I don't remember how we did it, but we made it look like we were on an island, and
it's lit.
It was fun. I totally get why she. That's how I ended up in this job for sure.
Yeah.
Learning editing so young. She was really. What year was she born?
I think
she's 30 years old now.
30. She was born in
94.
Yeah, she was the same age as me.
Yeah, so I don't know. She was using Adobe Premiere. I was using
12, I think.
I was using Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah.
So
hey, you know what?
Whatever.
I was using iMovie. Okay, that was.
You made those too, huh?
Yeah, I used to make a lot of videos.
It's fun. It was so much fun as a kid.
She grew up making home videos, always loved the whole process and whatever. So she goes to school, graduates from college, and she's broke as fuck, has no job, and she was vlogging on YouTube. Was kind of like her first thing, and she's like, I didn't really want to be a vlogger, but I just liked the process of it, and I just wanted to make funny videos and whatever. And then someone was like, you should start a podcast. And at that time she was like, podcasts are for old people listening to NPR, you know, who the fuck is listening to a podcast our age? But it just kind of had started taking off. So her and her roommate, she basically went to her roommate and was like, yo, I'm gonna make a podcast, would you want to make one with me? And she was like, yeah, sure. And her roommate her name is Sophia, and so her and Sophia started Call Her Daddy. And it's kind of interesting because I've always wondered, what the fuck? Where did they come up with the name Call Her Daddy? And she described it as when you call a man daddy, it's kind of like this submissive, oh, that's daddy. It's very giving them a lot of power and so she was like, why can't women be have that same type of name and that same type of power and force or whatever? And
that's how I always had interpreted it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So so that's where they came up with the name, and so they started making the show about, really, it was just about sex. Every single week was their crazy sexcapades and their crazy dating stories, and basically making it locker room talk, the shit that men talk about on TV or in their locker room or with their friends or whatever, but they were doing it as females. And her whole thing was why is there no show, and why is it not allowed for females to talk about this type of subject?
Which that makes more sense about the comparison to Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
right.
Yeah.
But she's not really that anymore. But
no. So
do they get pretty open with guests? Do people open up and say? Because I did see clips of that where celebrities were.
It
saying,
depends on the guest. She's not going to do it with Kamala Harris.
I mean, she asked people
what's your favorite
sex?
But yeah, she'll talk
position?
about sex.
Yeah.
I think just it kind of depends on the guest.
topic.
But
Hailey Bieber, she asked her what her favorite position was.
yeah, so that's where they got their start, and I think it was very quick that they got a ton of attention. They're charting podcasts instantly.
So that goes to my question. At one point in the documentary, she talks about some of the things she used to talk about. She was like, or no, it was when she got out on stage and she's like, my audience I have described what the inside of my vagina looks like.
Yeah.
And I was like,
in great detail. Yeah.
She'll talk about.
I'm so confused about what she. meant by that?
So like a lot of her
how does she know what it looks like?
A lot of her, like, there was a time when she was talking about like female pleasure and like, why can't I orgasm? Like, I think women were calling in being like, I can't have an orgasm and like, I don't know how to please myself or whatever. And she was like, you need to start masturbating. Like, you need to become familiar with your own body. Why is it so shameful and taboo to talk about women exploring their bodies and their sexuality and what they like and what feels good for them? And so she was like, take a mirror, put it in front of your vagina and look at it and like have an orgasm while you're watching yourself. She's like, it's the most empowering thing. And so I think that's kind of probably what she was. Maybe it was something else, but that's like kind of the stuff that she, like, there was really nothing that was off limits. They would talk about
like dick sizes and like everything. Like
it's like what Cosmopolitan magazine was.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
with just
I
like no
loved that
filter
shit.
and just And so they started with that. They get the attention of Dave Portnoy from Barstool, and he DMs him. This is when her podcast was still pretty small, but I think there was a couple episodes that started going viral, and I'm sure he was like, ooh, this is interesting. No one's doing this. So he signed them onto Barstool for a pretty low amount of money. And before they knew it, the show was one of the top shows almost instantly. It was getting tons of attention. And Dave himself was even like, yeah, it wasn't long before Call Her Daddy started paying for a lot of the salaries at Barstool. And so they were under this contract. I think they were getting like $70,000 or something, but the show is growing immensely. And they started feeling like, we know that we're worth more than this. So they went in to try and renegotiate the contract with Dave and get more money. And this is kind of, I think, when the relationship between her and Sophia were like starting to crumble. And they said that like they would act like on camera they were best friends, but behind the scenes, like things were pretty bad. And so I think it was just getting worse. And Alex kind of alluded to, she has in the past of like, she did a lot of the work. She did all the editing. She did all like the back end, like brunt work of it. And Sophia just kind of like was riding her coattail. I know there are people out there who have a very different opinion on that and think that Alex like fucked over Sophia and they're on her side, and that's totally fine. Like, whatever. This is just kind of supposedly like how it went from the documentary's point of view, which obviously it's biased because it's her documentary. But she says in the documentary that at one point they go in to Portnoy's office and they're like, we want to renegotiate. We know the show's worth more. And he was like, look, if you stay on Barstool for one more year, I'll let you own Call Her Daddy and you can take it and do whatever you want. And so to Alex, she's like, yeah, that's totally worth. Yeah, we're not getting paid right now, but like if I can suck it up for one more year, then we can go and sell it to anyone, and we know we'll get tons of interest because it's already doing so well. And I think Sophia was not interested in that. And there's also talks about like, was her boyfriend involved in trying to like talk her out of the deal or whatever. And so essentially what happened is Sophia didn't want to keep working under Barstool Sports. Alex said, I'll do it. And she became solo and finished out the contract, and then the show was hers, and that was it. And she's now the solo host of Call Her Daddy. So then she went to Spotify and made a deal for $60 million. And it was a Spotify exclusive show for, I think, like 4 years or something. And then most recently, she moved on from Spotify and went to Sirius XM and signed a $125 million deal.
What?
On Sirius XM. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. She's huge. She's like right below Joe Rogan, right?
I mean, they all kind of like bounce, on the charts. But yeah, pretty much.
Isn't Joe Rogan like always at the top though? Or no, not really anymore. That's how he always was for years. I don't really.
I'd say he's always in like the top 5, and I would say most of the time so is she.
Yeah. Gotcha. Last time I checked, she was up there right next to him. So
that's kind of like the history of it, and the show's evolved a lot. It was a lot about sex and a lot of their branding was like dump him, cheat on him, fuck his dad, like just like being like a savage kind of like to these men of like
fuck his dad. Fuck his dad.
Yeah. Of basically like have a ton of sex. I don't have feelings. Nothing hurts me. Cheat on him. Like no one can touch me and whatever. And then she's like, I wanted to start becoming more myself. Cause like, yeah, she's like, that was me, but that was like the most heightened, intense, raunchy version of me. Like I am more than just that. And that's not who I am day to day. I was turning on. I was
living that experience during that moment.
And she was like,
not that forever.
Exactly. Yeah. And so she started being like, no, I want to talk about like real things. And so that's when she kind of started changing the concept of Call Her Daddy into something that was more than just a sex show, and started talking about mental health and becoming vulnerable of she's struggling too. Like, she may come on camera in the last year, she was talking about like, nothing phases me, I don't give a fuck, I'm the Call Her Daddy girl, like whatever. But I'm actually more than that. I do have feelings, I'm in therapy, I go through struggles. And so that was kind of like her next phase of it. And I think that it was a really smart choice because it made her more real. It was like more relatable,
Totally.
Once she also got a deal with Spotify, obviously Spotify has a zillion connections. And so they were able to get her tons of guests on the show. And so now it's really transformed into like this interview style. But still, the overall arching theme hasn't changed. It's women empowerment and talking about real life things that women struggle with, whether that's infertility, whether that's dating, whether that's sex related, mental health related, dating, whatever. And so, yeah, that's, I would say, kind of the timeline of events to get to where she is now. And then, for a while, she was the bitch who was like, she would be like, I was cartwheeling on dicks. And meanwhile, now she's married. Like, she...
Cartwheeling on dicks?
Like, doing cartwheels on a dick. Like, I think it's more just like a saying, but like, going
I was
fucking
like,
crazy.
Wow, that's like, can't even... I'm really old, I guess.
Now she's like married and she really wants kids. And it's interesting because recently she just started talking about how her and Matt, who's her husband, had this plan of like, when we get married, we want to have kids in the next year. But then her career really fucking blew up and she started the whole Unwell Network and all this other, side projects and side businesses. And so she was talking about how she felt this societal pressure of like, by 30, you need to start having kids and you're married. Like, let's start popping them out. And she realized like, I need more time.
Yeah.
And so she had an episode of like,
I saw that.
Fuck the standard of how you're supposed to live your life. You're allowed to start over whenever you want. You're allowed to get married whenever you want. You're allowed to not get married at all. You're allowed to have kids, not have kids. Like, women need to be able to do whatever the fuck they want and stop bending to these pressures that men mostly and society in general puts on them.
Yep. Totally get it too. Like, especially when your career's blowing up. It definitely makes working a lot harder. I mean, it changes your priorities a lot. That was a lot of the focus of her interview with Ellen Pompeo, and that was like shortly before it seems like that episode came out. So I really like her. It was super interesting just watching her, the way that she commands herself in a professional space. And it was interesting when she was talking a lot about how, she has issues, or like, I guess her assistant was talking to her about how like, you need to stop people pleasing and tell people, why is it so hard to tell people
what you want?
When you want. And she's like, well, I don't want to be seen as a bitch. I feel like I have a lot of those feelings too.
And she was saying how Matt will walk into a room and not be an asshole, but like be very specific. Like, guys, we really need to step it up here. It needs to be
more assertive.
It needs, exactly. It needs to be better, or we need to get our stuff together, or I expect better things, or we really need to lock it up, or whatever. And they're like, "Ooh, yeah, Matt's like, he's tough. He knows what he wants. He's a good business guy." But if she does it, it's like, "Oh, you're a bitch," which is so true. It's like, God forbid a woman is opinionated, knows what she wants, and commands the attention when she walks into a room.
But anyway, the main reason that we wanted to talk about Alex in this documentary. So in the second part of the documentary, Alex talks about how she was sexually harassed when she was in college. And from my understanding, this is the first time she's revealed this to people. She's never wanted to talk about it before.
Yeah.
Wasn't even sure if she was going to do it in the documentary or not. She has like an 8-minute episode on the channel right now where she just like kind of gives you behind the scenes on her thoughts about finally talking about it. But she said that the woman who was producing the documentary was like, I totally understand if you don't want to talk about it, but I think it would be good for you to like go back to your school and like see Boston University, because that's where her tour was launching. And she gets there and she said she gets on the field and it just feels like she's so small again, is how she described it, and that she was right back there again. And then she also found out that someone else had been through what she went through, and then therefore decided it's time to tell this story. And it was very disturbing, very shocking, and I really give her a lot of credit for opening up the way that she did. And I think the way that she spoke about everything was so eloquent and thought through, and you can tell she's done a lot of therapy on it.
Because she played soccer her entire life.
Yeah, she's a badass with it.
Yeah, she's very good. Worked her ass off since she was a kid and got a full ride scholarship to BU to play on the team. And so, yeah, she went there, and I mean, it's you can just see, though. I can't imagine when you like work your whole life towards something and something you love so much for it to be stripped from you and it to be turned into something that's so traumatic and just ruined your experience and your love for that sport.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
Especially by a female.
Yes. Yeah. And I know that's what hurts the most, right? And I don't know if she actually brought that up herself, but I was wondering if that's how it feels for her. Is every time that she thinks about soccer, it's like an instant,
I think for a while,
shitty pity feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pity, I mean, as in like the pit of your stomach.
Right.
But
I think she mentions that at the very end, like how she feels like she just took away something she loved.
Yeah, she loved it so much, and it was stripped from her.
Because she couldn't finish playing.
Yeah. So, yeah, she got a full ride. She gets to BU, and she is playing on the soccer team, and the head coach is this woman named Nancy Feldman. And she talks about how
it wasn't anything physical.
Yeah, it wasn't anything physical.
Well, sort of.
Kinda. I don't know. I thought it kind of was.
Well, she did talk about how Nancy had put her hand on her thigh.
Yeah.
So I think that's as far as the physical went, unless there's parts that she just didn't share, which is possible. But I don't think so, because in her little YouTube video, she says, I was worried to bring this up because I thought people would judge me because it wasn't physical.
Right.
And she also was worried about people judging her for it being a woman, because obviously that's sort of outside of the norm of what we think of when we think of cases like this in coaches.
Especially,
but it definitely happens. It's a nice reminder that it you never know like who your kids are safe with. It's just so scary.
And she talks about why part of the reason that hurts so much is because when she was growing up, she was bullied by boys so much. She's like, I was terrified of boys. I wanted nothing to do with them. I just loved being on my soccer team because it was all females. I loved my female coaches. And so when I found out that BU had a female coach, I was so excited to play for a female coach and how exciting that would be. And then, now that she has this show that is about female empowerment, I think she felt very stuck of like outing another female who is, coaching is predominantly male historically, and so outing someone who is another female seemed almost counter-feminist in a way. I think she was kind of alluding to.
I can see that.
Totally.
You have these thoughts of like, do I want to bring down another female? Right. And it's like, obviously, in that case, go down. But I can see how in her mind she'd think like, is this... I don't know. She was wrestling with it. And then it was interesting, too, that her mom was like, when we first found out there was a female coach, we were like pumped. Because that's, they were like, oh, she's probably safe.
Yeah.
I'm sure for Alex was really confusing because at first, like, you're supposed to trust this person. And they're kind of like grooming you into trusting them, I guess. And I feel like that's what Nancy did.
And you're with this person all the time. And basically, like, whatever the coach says is what you do.
Especially with the scholarship.
Right. Yeah. Well, to that level in college, like that's part of kind of the coach's job, and a teammate's job is to learn how to build rapport and trust with each other to some degree. Obviously, this went insanely far, but like how it was hard for her to like tell the difference at first.
Right.
And then it was by her, because her freshman year, she said she described it as normal and professional, just like. But then, really changed sophomore year. She started to fixate on her. It felt like she was giving her more attention than the other players. That seemed like hyper-focused on her. And then she started...
They'd be watching film, and she'd be like, rewind and watch over and over again and like talk about her body.
Yes, and say it to the whole team.
Look at her legs in this. Look at Alex's legs in this. And she's like, what the fuck does this have to do with the game that we were just reviewing?
Didn't she even say stuff like... I can't remember exactly, but like check out how good Alex looks. Like no one looks this good while they're playing soccer or something. Unless I'm just totally something looks that good in a uniform. Just really, really creepy. And then she would ask her all of this stuff about her personal life and who she's sleeping with, and didn't want her living with certain people, that she wanted to drive with her to practices or to
she would
different
like make her get in the car and like drive her home from practice, or be like, so I saw you out last night. Did you fuck him? Did you have sex? Or at one point she saw that some guy dropped Alex off back on campus, and she was like, did you spend the night with him? Did you have sex with him? And she was like, why the fuck are you asking me this?
It's like she was in love with her.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
At one point, she
scary.
told her she couldn't leave. She's like, you need to stay here on campus.
She obeyed her because she didn't want to lose her scholarship.
Right.
Such a power dynamic.
Yeah.
It's a fucked
So
up
manipulative.
place to be in. Her every move, wanted to control everything that she was doing. And
then she'd get mad at Alex if she did something to piss her off. She'd like reprimand her or not play her. When Alex was very good, they're at some game and they weren't playing her, and all of her teammates were like, why the fuck is Alex sitting on the bench and not in this game? We need her.
And I don't think maybe a couple of them knew, but the whole team didn't know what was going on with her and Nancy. I think people already were starting to be like, okay, why does she get so much attention? She's always like, hey, Alex, stay after practice, shit like that.
It switched that dramatically. So now Nancy's like ignoring her and giving her like the third degree. When I think Alex won them that game, one of the games.
Yeah.
That game Janelle was explaining.
Yeah, and like they were on, like you said, they were on TV, and she didn't even mention Alex by name. She didn't talk about the winning goal. Like she completely ignored.
She goes, a lot of great players had some great shots, and Alex is like sitting right there, and you can tell she looks so uncomfortable. She's just kind of nodding her head,
and she's like the best player on the team. So when all the other girls were watching, like, why are you not playing her? The fuck? And as soon as they put her in, she scores, and then Nancy refuses to give her any credit. God, that interview was crazy. If we can put that in, probably not. It's got to be
highly doubt it. Yeah,
you guys should check it out. Seriously, that blew my mind. The way that she was treating her, obviously uncomfortable Alex looked at that point.
I mean, yeah, and I guess in the moment you don't really notice it.
Even when the interviewer asked Alex like to speak, and like Nancy's face is just like straight face. She doesn't even like look at her or anything.
Yep, she's like, some girls made goals. And that's it. Thanks for waiting for us, everybody.
Let's go. So at some point, she's talking to her mom about this and her dad, and they were both kind of like, something fishy's going on. But then I think it all came to head. They were like, oh, no, like we're dealing with a situation here of harassment. What do we do? So they contact lawyers, and the lawyers are like, yeah, you can definitely sue her, but it's very hard to do this for a school. Like, they're going to drag it out. It's going to be long. It's going to be painful.
It's going to be made public.
It's going to be made public. And so you can do that, but like, here's the risk that it comes with it. And so at one point, her parents and Alex met up with people from BU, and she had taken like a binder and written down every single scenario.
It was her mom.
Her mom, it was. Yeah. Documented every single scenario that had happened to Alex from, it was now almost going into senior year.
Like 3 years.
And they brought it to the school and were like, put it in front of them, and was like, I have been documenting every single thing that Nancy Feldman has done, all the creepy experiences I've had with her. Open it if you want.
Yeah.
And the school didn't even open it, didn't even look at it, and straight up was just like, well, we're not going to get rid of her, but like, what do you want?
God.
And Alex was like, well, what's the bottom line? What do you mean? And they were like, well, she's like, I want to play my senior year, but I can't play for her.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we're not going to get rid of her.
That's like all she really wanted, because she said her dad also was like starting to get really pissed off when they wouldn't even like open the binder and blah, blah, blah. It was Alex that said, what's your bottom line? Like, what can you offer me? Because I don't think she wanted to probably go down that road knowing like it's not going to be easy for any of us. And then, I just want her gone. That's all I want, is to have my senior year. Like, I don't even think money was a part of it really for her.
And they were like, well, we're not going to fire her, so you can keep your scholarship. And she was like, well, I'm not playing for her. And they're like, all right, fine. So she didn't play her senior year.
It happens all the time too. Like, how we only hear about a fraction of sexual harassment cases.
Remember the Rutgers coach?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yep. Remember Sandusky? Holy fuck. That like shook my family. My dad was like, he loved Joe Paterno and went to Penn State. And oh my God, it's like insane to know that these things are going on behind the scenes all the time for years. This made me really appreciate Alex for so long. I've always thought, like, to be honest, I never like didn't like her, but I was always like, oh, whatever. Like, she just interviews people. I'm not like I don't love listening to celebrity interviews that much.
Sure.
And like, I never knew about the old stuff, but to me, she was just kind of seemed like just like a kind of fluffy, a fluffy girl.
Yeah.
And that was like a total judgment just based off of her interviews, because they're it's not about her at all. But this made me respect her so much for getting, and like I understand that there's always fucking people. It's so annoying that are like, oh, you're just now. Why are you saying something now? Do you need the attention? Like,
yeah,
you're gonna make a big deal out of this.
You're
blah,
a
blah,
zillionaire.
blah.
Why does it matter now? Fuck off.
No, because she has the fucking power now.
Yeah.
And she can actually make a difference for other people who are going through this at BU now, and then other colleges across. Like, the more cases that happen, the more cases that become public, and it's a huge fucking media story, the better. And someone like Alex, make it, scare the shit out of all these other schools that are housing these, abusers, harassers, rapists in some cases.
And that's the thing is, I think a lot of people, which obviously all stories are valid, but I think a lot of people are very hesitant to come out when it's like, well, it wasn't as bad as some other. I wasn't raped. I wasn't whatever. But like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, your experience is your experience, and I think that
it's harassment, it's abuse.
Yeah, by her talking about that is probably validating other women who have gone through similar situations where they're here like, was it really abuse? Like, was it really harassment? I don't know. I mean, like, they never physically touched me, and I don't think it was that bad, or like, I feel like I don't have the right to speak up on it because other people had been through something so much more traumatic. And so I think it's great that she decided to speak on it, because I'm sure there's so many people, which there were other people who have come forward about Nancy Feldman since, because she talked about it.
BU let Nancy retire. So she retired 3 years ago in 2022. So she worked out the rest of her career.
God.
You hear so many stories about the man being the perpetrator, especially when it comes to these kind of situations. And it's never really been a conversation like, what if it's the woman? Like, what if it's like the woman coach, or, there are so many women that are also abusers.
Yeah.
And that's not talked about enough either.
Right. I agree, Karelly, and that's another reason why I'm so happy that Alex did this and proud of her, because this is something that we just don't think about. Like, you and I were both saying, I'm sure you probably knew a little bit more because you had already seen the documentary and stuff, but when we first decided we were going to talk about this topic, Karelly and I automatically just assumed it was a man.
Same. I did too.
And then I was watching the documentary and I was like, holy shit. Obviously I know that happens, but it's so, we don't see it and we don't hear about it. It's not talked about very often.
And it's
so
the same
for someone
thing,
like Alex to make it, in a documentary like that and really call attention, I think is very valuable.
And it's the same thing with men getting sexually assaulted, and, like, it's the same kind of like
the same
different piece of the same pie, I guess.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Totally.
They're both, every situation is so valid and needs to be talked about. And
it's more rare, but it needs more exposure.
Yes, I agree.
And good exposure for her for doing this for the school, for goodness sakes, with how they treated her.
Yes.
How she literally reported this and they said,
I mean, anything that will, would negatively impact the school, they're going to try to obviously like brush it under.
Oh, yeah.
This is their response that BU put out. This is one of the most pathetic responses I think I've ever heard. June 12th, they said, Boston University has a zero tolerance policy for sexual harassment. We have a robust system of resources, support, and staff dedicated to student well-being, and a thorough reporting process through our Equal Opportunity Office. We encourage members of our community to report any concerns, and we remain committed to fostering a safe and secure campus environment for all.
Yeah,
clearly not.
Yeah, what?
Clearly
how
not.
stupid
You
do you
fucking
think people
assholes
are?
straight up told her, well, we're not getting rid of your abuser, so I guess you just don't get to play your senior year, and you're fucking everything that you worked your ass off for your entire fucking life, and the thing you love more than anything is being stripped from you.
And we're going to make that decision for you after not even listening to what happened to you.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
or looking into it.
Yeah. We have this
Not even
perfectly organized document right here, or binder. And they're like, nah, what do you want? We're not firing her, so what do you want other than that?
Keep your scholarship, I guess, but you don't get to play.
Yep. Insane. So Alex responded too on social media, and she's coming for these idiots, which is amazing. So she said, since my documentary has been released, it has become public that I was sexually harassed for 3 years by Nancy Feldman, my college soccer coach at Boston University. Nancy Feldman was someone I trusted, someone I believed in, someone who was supposed to help me grow, someone who was supposed to protect me. But instead, she made my life a living hell and abused her power over me. She even stripped me of my identity and took away what I had worked my entire life for because she didn't control herself. This defined my life for a decade and impacted her life 0%. Dude, that sentence is very, very powerful. I reported the abuse to the athletic director, Drew Marocello, and I was turned away and ignored. There was no accountability, no investigation, and no justice. So when I found out the harassment and abuse was still happening on that campus 10 years later by Nancy Feldman's successor and my former assistant coach, I knew I needed to share my story. So yeah, it's still going on even after Nancy is fucking gone. And she said, this is no longer about me. This is systemic. When this initially happened to me, it felt like I had no voice, but that is no longer the case. I am now coming for all of you who abused your power over innocent young individuals. Nancy Feldman, you will no longer be able to hide in the shadows and get away unscathed from the calculated pain you caused me and so many other women. To anyone who has also experienced what I have and been ignored, I am with you. And this is day one of changing the system, flipping the script, and finding justice. We will no longer be silenced. I am ready to bulldoze through every fucking door for all of you out there, because when I was 18 years old, dismissed and ignored by Boston University, I prayed and wished someone with a voice would have held my hand and helped me through the darkest time of my life. Daddy gang, I got you. Stay tuned. I'm curious to see where this goes.
Same. I think she has the power to like really do. Like,
she
make
does,
change.
dude. She certainly has the money too to go after these fucking people and to light them up with a PR nightmare.
Yeah,
I'm sure they were like not expecting this. See, and that's the thing is they do this to students, thinking like, oh, well, who cares about you? You're just a little,
You're 18 years old, 20 years old, whatever.
And you're a girl too, so.
And it's happening by another girl.
Yep. So no one's But then now she's Alex fucking Cooper. I can't wait to see how this goes, and good for her. But yeah, let us know, you guys, if you watch that documentary, what you think and what you think of the whole situation. We'd love to hear from you. Let's take a little break. Guys, just imagine if shopping, planning, and cooking could be simple and stress-free. Imagine having your weekly shopping cart filled for you and all of your meals for the week just decided. Well, taking all that work off my plate is why I love Hungry Root. And I actually do love Hungry Root so very much. I get so excited every Sunday night when I build out our meals for the week. And I cannot tell you how many options Hungry Root has and how I'm constantly trying new ones and feeling like I am switching it up while being able to stick to my health goals, not eat out as much. And what's really cool is that Hungry Root gets smarter with every order. They're going to be able to recommend things that they know you're going to like. They have over 15,000 quick recipes shipped per week, and they are all ready in just 15 minutes or less. Plus, they offer a wide grocery selection, which is really convenient. I love getting things for our lunches, like salad kits. There's ready-to-eat meals, sweets, stuff for our daughter, like little smoothie packets and snacks. And at the end of the day, Hungry Root is going to help you to eat well and to reach your diet or health goals. Whether you're gluten-free, dairy-free, high protein, focused on gut health, anything else, just take a quick quiz and their smart cart technology recommends groceries, recipes, and supplements tailored to your specific tastes and needs. It truly is like having a personal shopper and a chef all in one, so you can spend less time planning and more time doing what you love. So take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, you can get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. All you got to do is go to hungryroot.com/sesh and use code SESH. That's hungryroot.com/sesh, code SESH to get 40% off your first box, plus a free item of your choice for life, people. That's hungryroot.com/sesh, code SESH.
So, switching gears here, I want to end this episode by talking about my Charlie boy. Obviously, trigger warning, I'm talking about pet loss, and if that's not something that you want to hear, completely understand it. Don't judge you at all, and you can skip out. But I feel like I want to honor him by talking about him, and I know that a lot of you guys, which was shocking, so many more than I expected, were like invested in him. So I felt like maybe it would just be good to talk about it and kind of, I would just feel wrong if I didn't speak on it on this show, because he was here next to me. Pretty sure he was here every single recording. Okay, so little back end, just so you kind of, for those of you who don't know, I rescued him when he was 6.5 years old. He came from a puppy mill. He was a breeding dog for half his life, and he was severely neglected and abused. And Breeder Release Adoption Services, which huge shout out, and I'll touch on them more later, but they rescued him and then I adopted him. And yeah, he was 6.5 and he was in very rough shape when I got him.
He came from a Amish breeder, right?
I don't know.
Or was that Maggie?
That was Maggie for sure did. I don't know if he did. She didn't tell me a lot, but it was something in Kansas is where he came from. But I know that he like had no socialization. I don't think he ever touched grass a day in his life.
Yeah.
And yeah, he came and he was a big struggler. He was a shell of a dog. And I had the privilege of nursing him and rehabilitating him for the next 6.5 years. And it was the most rewarding thing I had ever done. And yeah, I'll talk more about that in a minute. But basically, so he was 12 years old, coming up on 13. He was going to be 13 next month.
So close.
Which obviously, like, you don't really know how much time you have with the dog. But I was very obsessive with making sure that he had a little bit of a heart murmur and like a very low grade heart disease that he had for years. And every year I got him an echocardiogram and it never, like, the condition didn't change at all. Every time the doctor was like, it looks great. You don't need to do any medicine. Like, don't worry about it. It hasn't changed. So he was healthy in that aspect. I would do his blood work all the time. He was totally healthy. Oh, you're already crying.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I miss him.
I miss him too. Yeah, so he was healthy from what I understood. And
it was so shocking.
And that's part what I think made it so difficult was I knew he was getting older, but I was determined to obviously make him live as long as I possibly could. So, yeah, by all accounts, like, he was healthy.
And you did everything. Oh my God, like above and beyond for a dog parent.
Well, as most people know, I have very severe health anxiety. I'm very paranoid about death. I am definitely a hypochondriac. And so in general, I'm very grateful that I have the means to be able to, I know that not everyone does, and I'm not judging people who don't have the resources to be able to, keep their dogs super tested and do whatever intervention they would need or whatever. But I was lucky enough that I did, and I do. And so yeah, I basically made sure as much as I could that he was as healthy as possible. He had just started laser therapy on his little hips because he had some arthritis.
He had just started like a month ago.
Yeah, like a month ago, and he was doing really good on that. And so in my mind, I was like, okay. And obviously, I think this is just the human brain and trying to like rationalize. But in my mind, I was like, he's at least got another like couple years, I thought. Because 12 is old, but for a Bichon, he was very tiny. I didn't think it was like that old. And like I said, I would do tests. I would just because like his appetite he started becoming really picky. But he was still eating, but he was picky. And I was like, well, he could just be of age or whatever, and the doctors weren't super concerned by it. So he had a little bit of a thyroid issue. He was on level thyroxine for that. He had a little bit of like an elevated liver enzyme, and he was on another supplement for that. So Denamarin is what he was on. Anyways, also I don't need like opinions about medication. I like if whatever. Okay, just let me be.
There's no point.
But I was doing what the vet told me to do, and seemingly he was very healthy, okay? So that's bottom line. So it was Sunday evening, and he seemed fine. He ate a really big meal, actually, which I was surprised because he's usually a picky little dude.
Okay, you were like literally feeding him on the floor.
Yeah. I started I'd like make his own dog food, and like I was like consulting with different vets, and just because he was kind of picky. And again, I'm just kind of in the extreme case of like, he wasn't a dog to me. He was literally my soul dog. And I knew one day I had kind of been anticipating anticipatory grief for a long time because I knew he was getting old, and I knew at some point he wouldn't be around, and I knew that when he left, it would be devastating. So I knew it was going to be hard. I think it was even worse than I really expected it to be, but whatever. So yeah, it was Sunday and he ate a big meal and he was bopping around doing his cute little things as usual. He seemed like completely fine, and I had no reason to believe anything was wrong with him. And so we went to bed, and he always like started off on our bed. He would sleep between our pillows a lot, John and I, and he would like switch off on which pillow he'd rest his head on. And a lot of times he would like put his head on my pillow and we would like sleep almost nose to nose. Like he was literally with me 24/7 pretty much. He was at work. I would take him to appointments. I would take him to stores. Like he was attached to my hip. We were like literally like
an appendage.
He was basically like my third arm.
Yeah.
And so
it's hard to like explain the bond. Like I think a lot of people out there will get it, but it was something like I mean I love my dogs, obviously. I got my Bernie right here, but like I don't think I've ever experienced a animal bond the way that you and Charlie are.
I didn't even know it was possible
to some degree, but not even nowhere close. I mean, it's just
I literally felt this deep connection with him. I would like hold him and we would look in each other's eyes, and I just felt like our souls were connected and talking with this unspoken language. He was like my biggest source of comfort. He was a constant in my life. He was always there for me, and he loved me so much, and like God. I was his chosen person, which made me feel really good. And I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, I was his whatever, but you understand what I'm saying. Like he genuinely loved me so much, and I don't know what I did to deserve that, but
you saved him. That's what you did to deserve that. It was the most beautiful thing. I know I've told you a million times over the last 2 weeks, but it was the most beautiful thing to witness his transformation and the way that you loved him and all the work that you put in. And, like when you first got him, and I can't remember where you went, but you left him with me and Josh. And I was like, this dog he was so different back then. Like he was I couldn't even go near him. He was just like howling in the kitchen. And then when we first got into our office space, he was kind of nervous. And especially once we had employees around, and way he was just a couple weeks ago, I feel like every couple of months I'd have this new moment of like, wow, Charlie's come so far. Wow, he's come even farther. Like it was just, he just got on my lap for the first time by himself. Like I've held him before, and he's like, well, I guess he's like stood on me while I was sleeping. But like he got just into my lap randomly like the Thursday before he passed, and it was just so, so beautiful to watch.
He made so much growth in his life, and I'm just so grateful that I got to experience that and be the one that helped him do that and be the dog that he was always meant to be, because he really is like the sweetest soul and such a lover man. And
it's weird to say about a dog, but you two had like
I literally felt
similar personalities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
we did. We both have anxiety, and we relied on each other for it.
Yes.
Like
that's
who saved what I who? Meant.
Yeah, definitely very much that.
Who rescued
who? You needed each other. Yeah. He rescued you too.
Yeah. So it was the best, like basically 6.5 years. And like a month ago, we just celebrated him officially being with our family longer than in the puppy mill, which that was something that I always really had hoped would happen, of like he officially was in a loving home longer than not, and he got through that milestone. I was so excited for the little guy, and I loved him like more than I can even describe. I loved him so much, and and that's what sucks sometimes. I just miss him so much. So anyways, he started off in our bed Sunday night, and we went to sleep, and a lot of the times he'll like jump off because he gets thirsty, and he'll like go to drink water in our room, and then he'll either like come back on our bed, Or a lot of the times we have like 2 little dog beds on the floor. And so sometimes he'll go in there because he's kind of like too lazy to come back. And so he went to his little dog bed, and I thought nothing of it because he would do that all the time. And then sometimes in the middle of the night, he'd put his paws up to come back on the bed or whatever. And sometimes not. But anyways, he jumped off probably around like midnight. I could hear him like hop off and drink water, and then he went to his bed. And I thought nothing of it. And so then the morning came, and it was like around 5:30 in the morning, and John, I was completely asleep, and this was Monday morning now, and John heard this like kind of weird sound, and it sounded like kind of like a growling sound, but it was just a strange noise. So he got up.
He thought it was a
woodpecker. Yeah, he's like, I don't know why I thought it was like a woodpecker in our house, like this like clicking sound or something. And so he got up and he like opened the bedroom door and looked out to see like what it was, and then he realized, oh, it's Charlie, because his bed is right by the door. So he thought he was dreaming, because Charlie, he'll sleep very deeply, and he sometimes, like, dogs will be like, in their sleep and stuff.
Yeah, my dogs do it every night.
And so he thought he was dreaming, and I had at that second, I don't know why, I just happened to wake up, and I also heard this kind of like growling sound, and I thought he was dreaming too. And I kind of was like watching him, because where I was laying, I could see the bed, and I saw John bend down. He's like, Charlie. We were like, usually kind of like wake him up, and he'll like, you know, hop up and realize that he was dreaming or whatever. And so he was kind of like poking at him and trying to wake him up, and he wasn't moving. And so then I sat up and I was like, Charlie. And for a second, I was like, you know, this all happened within less than 10 seconds, but, you know, in your mind, everything's so slow. And so I was like, oh, he's probably just dreaming. So I went up to his bed and I was like, Charlie. And I kind of shook him. And then I felt him, and he was like really wet. And I was like, oh, is he sweating? But then I realized, oh, dogs don't sweat.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, he peed himself. So then I picked him up and realized like he was awake, kinda, but like he was like curled up and he wasn't really moving. And I don't know why, but I panicked and was like, oh, maybe I need to like run him under cold water. So I like went to the sink and like ran his little back legs under cold water, and he like had 0 reaction, but I could tell he was still alive, because he was like kind of breathing and kind of moving like a little bit, and would open his eyes like a teeny little bit, but he wasn't like looking at me. He wasn't like reacting to anything I was doing. So then the panic set in, and I started completely like losing my shit, and I was like started like screaming and freaking out, and we're like, you know, I went from dead asleep to having a full crisis within like 2 seconds. So he's on the bathroom floor while I'm like trying to get dressed really quick, and he's literally laying in this curled up position, not moving, and I'm like, oh my God, something's wrong with him. Is he dehydrated? Like, what's going on? And within 5 minutes, we put the girls away, Maggie and Cookie, which if you don't know, I have 2 other dogs in my house. We put them away and we left, and I'm very grateful that I live very close to an emergency vet. So we drove to an emergency vet. I called them on the way there. I'm like, I'm bringing in a Bichon. He's 12 years old. He's not responsive. I know he's still alive, but like something is very, very wrong with him. And in the car, I'm like literally just like praying out loud, like, please, God, if you're there, like if you exist, please save my dog. Like this can't be the end. I can't say bye to him. Like I was so panicked, and I literally felt like I was in a dream. So we rushed to the ER. I opened the door. The vet tech meets me outside, and I hand him off, and she's like, oh, is he still with us? And in that moment, I was like, oh God, if they're asking me, like, that must be really bad. So they took him in, and they're like, taking him back to like, do you want us to perform CPR if he codes? And I was like, yeah, of course, whatever. So they take him back, and they put me John and I in a room, and we're just waiting there, and I have no idea what's going on with him. Within like less than 7 minutes, the doctor comes in, and I could tell it was bad, because she just looked at me and wasn't like, good morning, guys, how's it going? She came and sat down, and she was like, so I'm very worried about him. His vitals are very severe. His temperature's low. He's not responding to like any neurological like stimuli we're giving him. His heart rate's very, very slow. His pupils are extremely tiny, and we think that he's having like some major neurological event, like a stroke or a hemorrhage or something. And she was like, you have 2 options. We could try and stabilize him. He's not stable right now. Like, we're worried he's actively dying. And I was like, ugh. I was in such a shock. I didn't even know I could barely even understand what she was telling me. And so she's like, you have 2 options. We can either try and stabilize him to the point of getting him an MRI, but he has to go under anesthesia for an MRI. And to go under anesthesia, you have to stabilize a dog enough to even like be safe enough for them to go under. And we could try to do an MRI and figure out what's going on in his brain. And like, we're very confident it's something in his brain. And we also think he may be like having seizures. And so they're like, so they told me that. And then they're like, otherwise we can talk about like end of life care. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? He was literally fine last night when I saw him, like 12 hours ago. He was fine.
How can these be the two options?
Like, what do you mean that's my two options? So she's like, let me give you some time to think. And at that point, I was like already talking to my mom, and she was like on her way because she lives close by. And so I was just sitting there with John, like, what does this mean? Like, what? Like, yeah, I'll do this surgery, like, or the MRI, but then I couldn't even process it. So she gave me like 5 minutes to like think about things. Then she came back, and I started asking her, I'm like, so if we do an MRI, like, and you find something, then what? And she's like, and this vet was so sweet, and she was so supportive and trying to explain and just patient with me, and like, veterinarians, the angels on earth. But she was like, something is very, very wrong, and I don't think he'll make it through. Even if you do an MRI and figure out what is going on, he's probably not going to come back from this. And at this point, he was in the back, and I was like, is he going to, like, could he pass right now? And she was like, I'm very worried for him. His vitals are getting worse, actually, and I'm worried that he may pass like right now. And I was like, okay, so can I go back and see him? Because he's back there. And I still couldn't like put the words like, okay, let's put him down, because I mean, this was literally all happening within less than an hour. So I'm like begging her to let us go back and see him. And she finally lets us go back. And so me and my mom and John go back into the little room he's in. And I'm walking down the hall, and I hear these like little like sounds. And I'm like, and she turns to me and she's like, I just want to let you know, like, that is him. He's inappropriately vocalizing. And so I got in the room, and he's on this table, and he's like covered in so many blankets. He's like, this tiny little head is sticking out, and he's covered in like a mound of blankets. He has a heater on him and all these little like nodes on him or whatever, but I couldn't see his body, so he was covered in blankets, but his little head was poking out, and he was like totally not there at all, like wasn't opening his eyes, and kept like throwing his head back and making these like sounds. And I was like, does he know where he is? And she was like, I don't think he knows that he's doing that. And I was like, well, is he in pain? And she was like, I mean, he may be hemorrhaging, like it could be very painful. And so I like was just holding his little head and trying to get as close as I could and talk to him, and hopefully he could smell me or hear me or something. And I was just standing there, and I looked at the vet, and I was like, I will do anything. Like, I don't care what it costs. I have pet insurance, and I'm grateful enough to have the means to do it. Like, I do not care what it costs or what it takes. Like, if there is any chance that I could save him and that he could recover from this, like, please tell me. I will literally do anything. I'm like begging to her. And she's like, we can try and do an MRI, but we would have to stabilize him. There's a very good chance that even under anesthesia that his body would not make it through that, and that he may pass away on the operating table, or not the operating table, but whatever, the MRI table. And, or he may pass away before that while we're trying to stabilize him, and he may be alone while he's here. And she goes, and even if he did make it through the MRI, he's not going to come back from this. Like, he's not coming back. And she was like, I do think the kind thing would be to say bye to him. And so I was able to talk to my cousin, who's also a vet, which huge shout out to her. I want to tell you guys, she does virtual consults. So if you ever want to talk to someone, a veterinarian, and you're not sure, like, is it a full emergency, or maybe like they're just having diarrhea or something, and you're not sure if you want to like pull the trigger to bring them into the ER, spend a lot of money, because I know that veterinarian appointments are quite expensive. On Instagram, it's digital, DIGITAL_dogtor, like DOGTOR. Her name is Karelly. She's wonderful, and she'll do like virtual consultations and like kind of help you through it. Or if it's bad, she'll tell you, no, you need to go to the doctor. But anyway, so I called her, and I was explaining to her, and even the ER vet was talking to her on the phone, and they were talking to each other, and Karelly was like, Janelle, I'm so sorry, but I think like the kindest thing to do would be say bye to him. And so once the vet told me, like, there's a very good chance he wouldn't make it through the anesthesia, and there's a very good chance that if you kept him here and tried to stabilize him, he would pass on his own, and he may be confused and in pain. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not risking that he's going to be alone and die without me. Because I know at the end of the day, all he wants is to be with me. And so John and I talked, and I made the worst decision I've ever had to make and said bye to him. And so they unplugged him, and he was in a blanket, and he was on my chest, and he's still like throwing his head back and doing this like really weird thing with his body where he's like tensing his arms a lot, which I think he was like having seizures. I don't know. But he was on my chest, and I was holding him, and I was talking to him, and he's still making these horrible sounds, and he's not looking at me, and I'm just like, he was so out of it. But I'm hoping that he smelled me and knew that I was there, could feel my energy, and I was trying to talk sweetly to him. And like, my cousin told me that like even in this state they can still smell and like feel your presence, so like he knows that you're there. Which that's all I wanted, because I knew that
he did.
I knew at the end of the day, like, his favorite place was in my arms, and
yeah,
even though I knew it was gonna be the most painful thing I've ever experienced, like, I wanted to make sure that his suffering was as short as possible, and that he was as comfortable and just, like, felt love and knew that I was there. And so they gave me, like, 5 or 10 minutes with him, but it was just, I kept thinking, like, if he's in pain, like, I don't want to keep prolonging this. So within, like, 10 minutes, John and I were, like, talking to him, and he was still, like, flipping his head back and making sounds. And then, so they came in, and, there she, like, injected the medicine that makes him, like, just sleep. So he, like, was sleeping. He was still alive, but he was sleeping on my chest for, like, a minute. But that medicine's really short-lived, which I didn't know. Like, I couldn't have been like, okay, give me 20 minutes while he's, like sleeping on me. Like, that medicine's really short-lived before you have to, like, and it wears off again. And so she, like, did it, and he was, like, sleeping on my chest. And then I was, like, saying bye to him, telling him what a good boy he was and how grateful I am and how he taught me so much. And I love him more than anything, and I'll miss him, and that it's okay, Mommy's here, and I'm sorry, and whatever. And then she injected the final medicine to stop his heart. And yeah, it was the most painful thing and hardest decision I've ever made. And I still, like, I know that everyone knows what I'm talking about when you say bye to a pet. I have this very, like, hard thing of, like, I chose to kill my dog, and I know it's really, like, brutal to say, but, like, that is the truth. And, like, I chose to end his life, and I have a hard time with that because that's really fucked up. Like, if you don't understand, you know, the context
when you say
of
it like that, it sounds like you didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
there was no choice.
Like, my other choice was to leave him and, like, be selfish and make him, like, suffer to try and get answers of, like, what was going on, but it wouldn't have changed anything. And the fact that there was a good chance he would have died alone, I was like, I would never forgive myself if I selfishly tried to keep him alive just for whatever reason, and he passed on his own. Like, I wanted him to be with me. So he laid on my chest for, like, 20-30 minutes, and then I told them I was ready for them to take him. And that was the worst thing I've ever done, was watching him be carried away. And I asked for a clipping of his fur, which they came back and gave me. And then I left and went home. And yeah, it was absolutely terrible, and I miss him so much.
It's so traumatic.
It was just so unexpected. Like, he was fine. He went from like, I found him like that for him, barely responsive, to me leaving without him in like less than 2 hours. And it happened so fast, and I had no warning. And
it's like, how can your brain even process something like that?
I kept thinking to myself when I was at the vet, when people are like, oh, I felt like I was in a dream. I always wondered, like, what do you, is that just a saying? Like, what do you really mean by that? No, I genuinely felt like I was in a dream. I remember at one point looking over at John and being like, I think I'm going to wake up soon. Like, I'll definitely wake up, and then be like, oh, it was a horrible nightmare.
Oh my God.
Because he was genuinely like my soul dog. I loved him with every ounce of my being, and I was dreading this day since the second I got him.
Oh my God, so was I.
But I knew it would suck, but it sucked even more than I thought, and it was
just so fucking awful. Even by the time I got to you that morning, you seemed like you were like in a dream.
I felt like
it was like a trance. Just so fucking hard to see you like that and just picture him like that. And
it was the worst thing I've ever seen. Seeing his little body like that. And after he died, he was laying on me, and he like peed all over me, obviously, because his body doesn't control it, which is like fine. I didn't care, but it was just like, it was just such an odd sensation of like him being on me. And I've never been through that before. I've never like seen a dead animal, except for like one on the side of the road, obviously, but like yours. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because my mom said bye to her dog like 3 months prior at that exact same spot from a stroke, and I was in the room, but I wasn't looking, and my mom was holding her. But this was like the first thing I had ever, and like obviously of course I'm gonna do it for him. Like, yeah. It was the worst thing I ever done, but that was my only choice. Like, yeah, I wanted him to be with me.
I know he appreciated that deeply.
But it's weird because for a lot of days, I felt very like fight or flighty and kind of like in a shock. I was in such a shock that it hit me, but not really. I was in just such a shock. And then by like day 4, the finality of it set in, which was like almost even more painful, because I was like, holy shit, he's really not coming back. And having to like decide what his little ashes would come in, would be mailed in, and like,
it's just so hard to picture, and your mind goes all weird places.
Yeah.
And we've been, talking a lot about grief and how this like roller coaster that you're on, and the way
you feel crazy at times.
Yeah. It's like extremely hard for your brain to process a loss like this, especially when it's just
so sudden.
You guys spent every waking moment together, and now it's been hard that it's hard to come back here. Yeah. It did.
Yeah, I mean, I was with him 24/7.
It's part of every routine, every decision, every thought.
He was like my biggest source of comfort. Like, I have a baby blanket that I sleep with, and I always say, like, Charlie's like Blanky but alive.
That's what you said on the phone too. That's
And he really was. Like, he was. If I was having a tough time or anxious about something or stressed or whatever, like, I just pick him up and like bury my face in him, and he would just look at me and like kiss my nose, and like, always joked, like, if he could, he would live inside me. Like, he would crawl into my skin if he could.
He wishes you had a pouch.
He wishes I had a pouch to keep him in. And so I'm like, well, maybe I hope that he's inside me now.
I think he is. I believe he is. I think he's always going to be a part of you. And there's so many weird signs that first week after he passed.
So many weird signs.
This type of grief, I think more people understand it than you think.
That's one of the things I've been struggling with a lot, is like feeling like I'm allowed to feel this way because he was a dog, and I know that people lose like children, and like, to me, he was my kid, but I almost felt like embarrassed that I didn't deserve to feel so upset. And I've been really surprised by just how many people in my personal life like got it, and we're so like non-judgmental, and we're like, no, he was your family member, like, he was your kid, that you don't need to feel strange or embarrassed, or like you don't deserve to feel the way that you feel. I've just been like so overwhelmed by the response from people in my personal life. Like people were like sending me food and flowers, and I got this little from one of our producers for TCKR, gave me this like little like stuffed animal. I think it's technically like a bug, but it looks
it's
like
a bug.
I think technically it's have little antennas.
Did you cut off antennas?
No, I just kind of looks like a sheet.
I taped them down.
Tie them.
Oh,
into a knot. But yeah, I called this Boppy's Angel because Boppy was one of his nicknames I had, so I've been carrying him around everywhere like a 3-year-old. And then I wrote him a really long letter over the next couple of days, and part of that I shared on Instagram, which was incredibly overwhelming.
Oh my God.
Like the amount of you guys that care about my dog that you've never met, and you've never met me, and you don't even know me or like personally or my dog, and the amount of like empathetic and thoughtful and like profound messages and comments and DMs and whatever that you have sent me. I am so overwhelmed, and I don't know what I did to ever deserve so much support from like strangers, and obviously like all of you guys here, like my parents and my other friends, and like I just felt so loved and cared for, and I genuinely don't know what I would do without that, because it was so painful. But like having that support and people to lean on and like validate my feelings, what genuinely is what got me through this. And like that includes you guys out there. I was so overwhelmed by the amount of people. It wasn't like, oh, so sorry for your loss. Like people, the thing that I kept seeing over and over again, which just absolutely kills me but also makes me really happy, is that like so many people told me like, oh, I saw the love you two had for each other and the connection you two shared. Like it was evident even through camera, and I'm like, wow,
it really was.
Like,
it was powerful.
People saw him the way that I saw him.
Yeah, they did. They saw that bond between the two of you is like just magical to see. It really was.
So I'm just like so overwhelmed by your guys' support. It was so overwhelming. Like I did not expect that at all. And I hope that he feels loved, and that in those last moments he felt safe and loved. And
I think he did.
Grief is just such a weird thing too, because you feel like guilty, and then or like you'll be okay one moment, and the next moment it'll hit you and you'll be sad again, and then like I literally feel like I've been on a roller coaster the past 2 weeks, and like luckily the extreme dips and raises are like becoming a little more steady.
It's like
but
smoothing out a little bit.
Like a little bit, and there's there's still some up and downs, but it's not as intense as it was and frequent. But you literally feel like you're just on a roller coaster. Like you're okay one moment, you're having a crisis the next.
I was so worried about you I'm still worried about you now, obviously, but just the first week and seeing you like that was just devastating. And it's been so nice to like see you smile a little bit, like even at the beginning of this episode, just talking about paint or whatever the fuck I don't know, it's just like it's nice to, we went out to dinner on Friday night, and it was nice to just be like, she's gonna be okay, it's just it's a long road to healing, and it's gonna be, you never know how long it's like, do you ever really fully heal from losing something that's so important in your life and part of you, part of your soul. Do you ever like fully recover from that? I don't know, but I know it's gonna get better, and you're putting in a lot of work for yourself mentally, I think, right now, and challenging yourself, and therapy, and I'm proud of you. And
thank you.
I just knew forever how hard this was going to be, and
it was awful.
It is awful. Charlie was a really, really special dog. You guys, like, I wish you could like explain it, but he's just, there's something about him, and it's hard forever. Like, I just know that it's hard to even wrap your mind around,
There will never be another connection like that I had with an animal. And like, not that I would ever want to replace him, but it's just painful knowing like I'm only 30 and I already experienced it and lost it. And like the thought of going on just living my life without him feels like I feel like inauthentic in a way. Like when I do catch myself smiling or laughing, which I know a lot of people can relate to this, you feel like guilty of like why I shouldn't be allowed to do that. And it's like, well, of course, like what's the alternative? Like you just like lay down and accept defeat for the rest of life and you're miserable forever. Like, no, you don't deserve that. Like,
and they would want you to carry on, you know, and continue to live your life and be happy. And just, it takes time to get back into that. But I think, we've been talking a lot about how intertwined grief is with guilt, weirdly enough. And like everyone I know that's ever lost someone, and myself, like with relatives, and I haven't had a whole lot of pet loss, like childhood pets. And I had a cat for like 6 months who had some weird neurological thing. We had to put her down. But I mean, I only had her 6 months. I was devastated. So I can't imagine how you feel. But I haven't lost any of Josh and I's pets. I mean, they're all getting old, and I think about it all the time. But yeah, it's just, it's fucking horrible. It's so unfair. And I think so many people understand exactly what you're feeling. And maybe not exactly, but they can compare it to something in their life, or, you know.
There's a lot of people out there who are like, I get it. It's not just a pet. Like, it is horrible. And, you know, one of the things that I've really struggled with is if I'm being honest, I've had a harder time with this than I have when like I've lost grandparents, and I felt very guilty with that because I'm like, what the that doesn't really make sense on paper.
I think it does. I think it would to a lot of people. Like, I mean, he spent every waking moment with you, dude. And it's like with your grandparents, like in most, or at least in our situations, they were really suffering towards the end, where it was like, and then Charlie was too, but this was so shocking. And he spent every moment with you, versus you didn't see, you know, Grammy and Granny that often. And it's just different. But the guilt thing is,
they're literally a part of your family. You're with them all the time.
I know, like, a lot of people always have the feeling of like, I could have done more, I should have done this, or I should have talked to them more, or, you know, I've like experienced all that when I've lost people, like these weird feelings of guilt, or like I shouldn't be enjoying a meal if they can't enjoy a meal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it just is super, super normal.
Yeah. It's sad that your mind does that because you're already struggling so much, and then to have these thoughts of like feeling guilty towards the situation sucks. And it's really hard for sure.
I think, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't say for sure, but I am manifesting for you. I really do think Charlie is going to bring you another bond like that with an animal in your life at some point, you know. I don't think he is the one and only Charlie. That's for sure. There will never be another dog like Char.
He was my son.
But I think you will experience that level of bond again, or at least I really, really hope so. And I manifest that for you. I know he would want that for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love you so much. I'm proud of you. Too. This has been the most pain I've ever seen you in.
It's been devastating. And I feel like I'm in a like haze. Like, I'm very numb right now. It's a lot of just like sitting there like, ugh, I don't give a fuck about anything right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it's like kind of, I feel like everyone's been there at some point and gets it.
There is one other thing I wanted to shout out. This woman on Instagram, her name is Fash Fab Beauty. She has a YouTube channel. She wrote me a poem. And it made me weep because I'm like, you don't know me and you wrote me a fucking poem. It's called The Weight of Forever. It says, You came not loud, but gently so, a quiet spark, a steady glow, no pedigree, no polished grace, just soulful eyes and a weathered face.
Wow.
I didn't choose you, not really. You found the cracks when I felt weary. You filled the room without a sound, turned silence sacred, made grief unbound. You learned to trust and I to mend, two broken halves that found a friend. With every walk, each breath we shared, the world felt soft just because you cared. The games we played, the naps, the rain, you wove yourself into my brain, not as a pet, but as a part of every corner of my heart. Then came a day I feared would come. The air stood still, the world felt numb. But love like yours does not depart, it lingers deep in marrowed heart. I feel you now in smaller things, a shadow moved, the hush of wings, the way the sunlight hits the floor, or how my soul feels one dog more. So run through fields I'll someday see, wait near the quiet edge for me. You weren't just good, you made my life better. You are the weight behind forever. And I was like, I can't believe someone did that to me.
That is unbelievable. And she said she wrote that?
Yeah, she's like, hey, I wrote this poem, hope it helps.
That was beautiful. What's her name?
Her username is Fash, Fash, Fabbeauty, Fash Fab Beauty.
Fash Fab Beauty. I need to follow that.
And I believe her name is Shonda. That's her name.
Shonda.
So, and I just wanted to end off one more thing here. If you feel, I understand that like adopting a dog, especially from a puppy mill, is not for everyone. It is a lot of work. It's not always the right fit for families or for situations, and I understand that. But if you ever feel in your life that it may be an appropriate thing, I cannot recommend it enough, especially the ones that have been through it and need the help the most. It is the most rewarding thing in the world, and I highly recommend Breeder Release Adoption Service. That's what they specialize in. That's where I've gotten 2 of my dogs and many more from my parents' dogs. And if a puppy mill dog or, you know, one that's like very challenged isn't a good fit in your life, that's totally fine. I understand that it's not for everyone. But I would just encourage people to look into options when it comes to adopting dogs in general. And there are puppies out there that need love. There are great family dogs for kids that need help. And yeah, I'm just gonna put that out there. And there's thousands of dogs, and I truly believe that there's a dog for everyone out there in their situation that would fit their situation in their life. So
and I think Charlie and you have really inspired a lot. I would not be surprised if there are some of you out there who've been inspired to rescue because of you. I mean, you've inspired me. I got Bernie and Sadie not from Mills, but from, you know, at home breeders back before I knew anything about. I didn't know what a puppy mill was.
I didn't either. A lot of people don't.
I always thought like I was really uneducated because just no one had ever taught me. But I thought that like people would like breed dogs in their home and sell them to like a local pet shop. I did not understand this like factory.
It's disgusting.
It's so horrible.
It's despicable. Please, I beg you, like if you're not going to adopt, which again, I really seriously, like there's a zillion dogs out there for adoption. I promise you one of them will fit your needs. I promise, whether that's the breed, the age, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to adopt, please, I beg you, do not buy from a pet store. Yeah. Do not buy from someone who is getting their dogs from puppy mills. Please, like this is such a disgusting, horrific factory that these dogs live in.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And if you really want the experience of having a puppy or that's best for your family needs, your children, whatever it is, you can still like we rescued Oakley when he was like 3 months old. Lucy was like only 3 years old.
I rescued Maggie when she was 10 weeks. She was a puppy. Like there are thousands of puppies. There are adoption agencies that specialize in puppies. If you want a puppy, I understand. Whatever. Like there are ways to adopt puppies. Please do not buy from a pet store.
Yeah.
It is just disgusting and there's really no need for it.
And there's always room for growth because I know that's like hard for people to hear. They feel guilty if they did do that or, you know.
I don't want to, and I'm not trying to shame people or make you feel guilty. Like I think genuinely a lot of people just don't know. Not educated. I wasn't. And luckily I think society is becoming a lot more educated on puppy mills and what they are. And I'm here to hopefully spread the message more and hopefully, you know, Charlie, even if one person changed their mind and it chose adoption instead, I'd be happy. But yeah, I'm not here to shame people. I understand it's not a very well-known thing. And I think it's becoming more well-known. But for a long time, like people didn't know and you can't blame people for what they didn't know. So
I need to like, feel guilty about the dog that you have or anything.
No.
But
no,
I don't feel guilty for this guy.
He's only
spoiled brat.
So, anyways, I could talk about this all day, but I know that's basically just I miss him more than anything, but I am trying to find the good in it and the lessons he taught me and be grateful for the fact that I had him at all, because he was the most special boy. And
that's why it hurts so much, because the love was so strong and he was so special.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it wouldn't hurt this bad if it wasn't, you know?
Yeah, he was a special
We're all going to miss him so much. I mean, the show will never be the same without him. He was here every week.
Yeah, he was. And his little 13th birthday's next month.
Oh, I can't believe I know.
So, but,
I got his little birth flower on that bracelet.
Yeah, Kendall got me the sweetest bracelets, different charms, like a little bird, a little sea, some little pearls, a bear, because he was my Charlie bear.
I called him Baby Bear.
The
charm was called Baby Bear.
I called him Baby Bear all the time. Come here, Baby Bear. So.
I know, I feel like I'll always think of him in July.
That was his birthday, 7/7.
God, so many great memories of him, though. I'm trying to think of those, you know, like when I start feeling like it still doesn't feel real. You know, I don't think it will for a long time. And I just try to, like, a lot of the times when we're on, which have been like pretty much every day on the phone, and just trying to bring up like because there's just so many like funny moments with him and like things he would do. And he was just like, he was such a character.
He was.
Like, and it was cool to see because at first he was still like, didn't really have much of a personality because he was like just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And then like seeing his personality come out over the years
was rewarding thing.
It was so cool.
Most rewarding thing.
It really
ever.
is.
Seeing his little quirks and his funny little goofy shit that he would do, and the way he'd like start to trust people, and he'd bop around the office and like go into Karelly and Sydney's room and like ask people for treats and like come up to you and kind of like sit next to you and look at you like, all right, I'd be like, permission to pet. And
permission to pet.
And Callie also loved him so much.
Yeah, Callie and him dated.
She had like a really big crush on him.
Yeah. It's cute.
Look at Bird sitting next to you.
Hi, buddy. You're a good boy.
He can sense you're sad.
He's a good man. I love dogs. Dogs are angels on this earth.
It's hard. Best friend.
And it's all, you know, like it's going to be hard. Like I lost my dog 4 years ago. And it's still really hard. Like yesterday I was moving and I have his little box and like his collar and his like favorite toy, and like I'll literally talk to his toy as if it's him, and it's very comforting. And you know, it's just something that you take from the situation, you take what they taught you. You know what I mean? Like Rainbow for me taught me a lot of compassion, a lot of patience, and like especially for an older dog. Like my dog was 13 when he died, and it was so unexpected. And when it's unexpected, it's that much more like when a dog is sick, you can kind of, you know, build up to it, and like you can prepare yourself for it. You know what I mean? When it's so sudden, obviously you're never going to be prepared for that no matter what, but there's a lesson in that in itself, you know?
Yeah, I thought about like, God, if he was, let's say he got diagnosed with something bad or a horrible disease or something, and it was a slow progression and I knew it was coming, but I think like I might have been able to prepare myself more, but I'm also like the thought of being able to see like him slowly disintegrate essentially, and me having to make the decision of like, okay, he's had a really bad couple days, should I do it this weekend? Or like, oh, but he had a good day today, he ate breakfast, maybe he's okay. Or like picking the date to put him down, I think would have been even worse in some ways. It was obviously really traumatic to just happen in a matter of 2 hours, but I do think that a part of me thinks that he made that decision for me because he knew I wouldn't have been able to like make it on my own. So
I really believe that too. We've been talking about that a ton. Like which way would have been better, and they are both horrible. Equally fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for you specifically, like it just would have destroyed you if it was over weeks or months.
Yeah.
And, I do think in the weirdest way he did do that for you.
Yeah, he loves his mommy, so
he did.
I trust that it happened for a reason. And I miss him a lot, but lucky I have my other 2 doggies at home, and one day when it comes time to rescuing another one, I know that Charlie will have picked them for me. So
I believe that too.
But
I'm excited for that day.
Me too. But yeah, thank you all for your words of support. Like I've read every single DM that some people have sent me, like thousands of them, all your comments. I'm just so beyond grateful to have this community. I know that a lot of people don't. And so I feel very, very lucky that I do. And all of my friends in real life and my family, I'm just so overwhelmed and feel so supported and loved. And
isn't it incredible to see?
Yeah, I was not expecting it.
We always talk so much about like the internet's fucked up and it's made society dumber and worse, and like in so many ways it's connected people.
Totally.
Like it's even if you don't have a platform or something, but just being able to log onto a support group and like find other people online who've experienced what you've experienced and just hearing from other people is just so powerful. I know after I had my miscarriage, I was like stunned by the amount of people that reached out, and just the internet can be something really special, and we are very, very grateful for all of you. This show, it's our safe space, and we love being here. It's been hard without you, and it's going to continue to be hard without Charlie. But I'm so glad we have so much footage of him.
Me too.
Like that's really cool.
I made an album on my phone of just pictures and videos of Charlie, and there were more pictures and videos of him than days I had him.
And what was it? 3,000?
It was
700.
Close to, I think it was like 2,000 or 3,000. And John goes, "You do realize it's 2,760 just on my phone." He goes, "That's more than we had him in days."
I mean, it's like you probably pretty much did one every day, or like you had 8 of the same picture, different angles and different.
So I have lots to remember my sweet boy, and obviously there's cute little moments of him on the sesh too. And it's odd, the very last time he was here, you weren't here, so he sat on the table with me.
That's so weird.
And
God, I don't know. There have been so many signs and synchronicities, and we don't really have time to get into all that, but maybe we'll share some of those sometimes because it's been kind of cool. God, so we haven't done a show together in 3 weeks. I just realized this was our first one back together.
Yeah,
it's like weird how it's worked out.
Yeah,
it's nice to be back with you.
Missed you. Love you
too.
All right,
thank you guys.
We love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next sesh. But until then, keep it fresh. I love you, Charlie.